Welcome to Know the Score with Decker and Dick, where we break down the latest sports news, share some laughs, occasionally wonder if we know anything about sports at all. Get ready for a fun mix of analysis, banter, and let's be honest, a few too many terrible puns. It's the podcast where we take sports seriously and not just ourselves. Now, live from the studio, Know the Score with Decker and Bitch.
Sir, I do not think that is a good idea.
Did I just hear you right?
you heard me.
You want to hear it again? You got to rewind back. But
I thought that was pretty good.
yeah, it was. Yeah, set me up, didn't you?
Because you know you are, brother. You know you are.
I know.
So, what's up? You just got off your all-state meeting. So what you got? What is that all about? I guess I don't even know what it was.
So we vote on the all-state girls basketball team and boys basketball team for the state.
Okay,
high school.
gotcha.
So we were doing the B and the A division. So I was in charge of the region down here for B.
Okay.
So
Now, I you're the sports guy. I'm just kind of the wannabe sports guy. So is there discussion on it, Nolan, or is it just like I'm going to say Nolan Dix? Oh yeah, Nolan's on the team. Yeah. Or is it more?
No, there's discussion. That's why we have the meeting. I mean, nowadays, back in the day, we'd get together on a Friday morning before, in the midst of the state tournament, and vote on it individually. So like, hey, Chad Decker, let's talk about him. Well, Chad averages 20 points a game, and and then you'd vote on it that way. Now it's like we've gone to a ballot they send out, but we still have this Zoom meeting. Let's say, all right, Region 4, Nolan, you got that. So then you go down, you explain, because there's a lot of girls that you're going to see with 25 points, but
Sure.
I mean, is she a girl that stayed in the whole 32 minutes when they were up 40 points, or
So you go that deep, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Okay. All right.
You got to, man. You got to dissect. You just can't throw a girl on all state like.
Well, no, I get that. I understand that. But what if the girls' team is like 2-22? Would she chance of her making all state go or not?
It all depends. I
Okay.
mean, there's girls that are just phenomenal and they don't have a sporting cast, so they're double teamed and sometimes triple teamed, and
they're still scoring.
Still averaging
25.
25. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that gets taken into consideration too. But for the most part, there's not a lot of all-staters on a 2-22 team, because if they're an all-stater, they're going to get you at least 8 wins.
Yeah. No. I meant not a winning record. I didn't mean the 2-20. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. Cool. So then, is it like today? You guys just said, "Yep, these are the teams," and that's it, or is it loud? Does it go above somebody else and they all give the blessing?
Nope, we had 15 girls up. There's 15 girls up for all state. There's a first team all state of 5 girls, and then there's a second team with 5.
Okay.
So it used to be 5 and 10, which was probably getting to be too many.
Okay.
I mean, you're kind of throwing on girls that are averaging 12 points and 2 rebounds, and
gotcha.
So
okay, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Yeah. And you said you had one from Heidegger Scranton that's going to be on the all-state team. Well, good for her.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she makes it. Yeah. She was a first teamer last year. Yeah, she's going to be missed. Had a chance to coach her the last few years. So, so she's definitely going to be missed. And it's like, when you step into the coaching and from the broadcasting, I think you get to know the kids a lot better. And so it's kind of cool. It's tougher at the end of the season.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Like I told him in the locker room, I said, when I was a sportscaster alone, as soon as the buzzer went off, I packed up my stuff. I was 10 miles down the road already while the coach was sobbing in the locker room.
Yeah.
So, I had a chance to do that the last few years, obviously with Gabby on the team. And this year as well, we're losing 6 seniors. And
wow.
Yeah, it gets tough. I mean, you see these girls every day. And this group of girls has gotten to a point where they can give Coach Dix a lot of shit, and I can give it back to him without getting in any trouble. I said you got to be, just a fun bunch of girls, and even if it, the boys team, get a chance to, at the baseball level, some people see some of these girls giving me crap, and they're like, "Whoa, why is she doing that?" It's like, hey. It's just a fun atmosphere. So,
yeah. And that's and they'll remember that. They'll remember that as they get older, and remember golden or glory days, like
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen used to sing. Yeah.
Well, the head coach did say, he goes, the one thing he is going to miss is myself and one of the other seniors she always figured I was never right. So I'd say something like, hey, that McDonald's burger up there is $2.29. She goes, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So they just, it was one of those deals. So
the sky is blue. No, it's aqua blue.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, there you go. And then we had another discussion before we went on air too. So we were talking about the second 40 birthday club, right?
Well, it's called the second 40 club.
Okay.
And you
don't know.
Well, the people that are in the meeting are all over 80.
Yeah, right.
To me and to you, the second 40 is 41 to 80 would be my second 40. I would think.
Well, that's how you and I would think. Yes, absolutely. So, but they're 80 and over, and what do? They just get together and have lunch and drink, or what do they do?
They have lunch, they play dime bingo, and I don't know what else they do.
Okay.
If it were me and I'm attending the meetings now, it sure in the hell wouldn't be dime bingo. It'd be you're throwing in a 5 there, Emma. Come on, Ethel.
You're throwing in a quarter, baby. Yep. We're going big time.
You're not going to be able to eat the next 2 days, but you might win. You never know.
That's kind of funny. The second 40 birthday club. I see both sides of it, Nolan. I do.
Just the second 40 club.
Okay, gotcha. And I get that. I get both sides of it, but I see, like me, the second 40 is what we're in right now, with hopes that we make it to 80. That's
and then you and I, once we get there, we can open up the third 40 club.
We will. We'll be somewhere stupid. So who knows? But hey, I was going to ask you, now that your Lakers are like the coolest, greatest team ever, have you started to get a little bit of interest back in the NBA or not?
The interest will be back during playoffs. I've watched a couple games, but it's still, when Luka was signed, the Lakers are going to build around Luka. LeBron is on his way out. But right now they're meshing like Decker and Knicks on a Monday morning.
Yeah, they're playing some good ball, dude.
They went from the 5 seed to like the 2 seed within 2 weeks. So
yeah. Well, they said I watched Get Up this morning because I wanted to see if there was any good free agent news or rumors or anything like that. But they said that ever since Luka has joined, LeBron has played the best ball of his career. And I'm like, has he really? I mean,
I wouldn't say his career.
Well, but that's what they were saying, and it's like, oh, they're back and the Lake Show's back. And, I'm like, but Oklahoma City's still out there. And,
well, LeBron doesn't have any pressure anymore. He doesn't have to bring the ball up in that. Luka brings it up. He's throwing passes that, you and I were throwing passes in Balta like that,
back in the day.
In the 80s.
Right.
But, so it's kind of cool to watch. Obviously, I did say something to a Celtic fan just early this morning. I'm like, could be a Celtic Laker championship again.
What did your brother say to that?
I haven't talked to my brother.
Your brother. Okay.
He doesn't have interest in the Celtics till playoff time. So
gotcha. So he's a good bandwagon fan, is what you're saying.
Well, he's always been a Celtic fan, but it's like and me too. It's like I can't sit down and watch 75 of the 82 games.
No, I'm with you on that. The only time I would go to a Timberwolves game now is if I got free tickets, but because it's just
won't get those. So.
Well, it's a hassle to get there, buddy. For me, going to a Lakers game, it's a whole different experience, I'm guessing, than what it is to a Timberwolves game.
Yeah.
But there's that. Anyways, so what? There was something else I was going to ask you, and I totally lost it. So I don't know. So we'll go with that. So what do you want to talk about today? Yeah. So free agency, the quote unquote, the legal tampering, which doesn't make sense to me, starts on Monday. There's some big names that are going to be out there. Some of the people are going to get cut, like we already know. Some people have already been cut. Devontae Adams has been cut, so he can sign with whoever today if he wanted to. And then you're kind of gung ho on your big trade for your new offensive line. They're not the Wizard of Oz cast anymore.
No, we added a couple linemen, but
yeah.
Mean,
here you go.
For what Caleb Williams did last year without a line, supposedly, It'll be interesting.
I'm just reading all the texts you sent me. Like, hey, this guy's the man.
Well, I just forwarded stuff. I don't read it. I just see the headline and I send it. So I don't even know what I sent you.
Yeah. The one was like, the dude's been hurt. So it's like, oh, good job. No, thanks for sending me that. You're giving me firepower against you already. So that's all right.
Yeah.
But were you surprised Darnold didn't get tagged? I think we both knew he wasn't going to get tagged. Do you think they're stupid for not tagging him? Number one, just for that. But I mean, they could still re-sign him, right?
Yeah.
But tagging him and paying him $40 million, do you think he's worth $40 million a year?
In Minnesota, yeah.
Okay.
I've said this about Kirk Cousins. I've said it about Case Keenum. You brought up going, well, what have they done after they left Minnesota?
Yeah.
They've had the talent in Minnesota. Kirk Cousins was not the problem. Case Keenum was not the problem. Sam Darnold is not the problem. So you're going to have to pay your quarterback eventually.
Yeah.
You can't go on if J.J. McCarthy has 2 pretty good years, you're going to have to pay him, or you're going to say, we're going to let J.J. go because we can go find somebody else. It comes to a point where, are you a quarterback whisperer? Or do you have the talent around with the Addison, Hawkinson, Jefferson, Jones, good offensive line?
Right.
Good offensive scheme. It's a pretty generic scheme where, I mean, throw to Justin Jefferson 9 times a game, you might win the ball game.
Well, but I'm just saying when it mattered most, Nolan, Sam Darnold disappeared this past year.
If he disappears,
he did in the Detroit game and in the playoff game. He had the 2 worst games of his season on those 2 games. Yep. Kirk Cousins' 2 worst games as a Viking were in the playoffs. His 4th and 3 check down when it's 4th and 12. I mean, that's not $40 million worth of quarterbacking right there. Knowing that the game's on the line and you throw a 3-yard check down.
Is there ever I get the check down. Is there ever any blame put on the play caller that sends one wide receiver deep, the other one short, just in case?
I think so. I think so. I remember back in the day when Jerry Burns and Bob Schnelker was the Vikings coordinator and everybody wanted him dead. But I mean, on those plays, they had everybody down the field trying to get to that first down, and he frickin' throws a check down. I mean, that was in Case Keenum knew he had to get into at least field goal range. And he threw that to Stephon Diggs, and then the guy went after it, and the guy fell, and Diggs ran it all the way in. So that's what you need. I mean, he knew he needed to get that far. I mean, you know you have to get to at least the 30-yard line. Why throw a 3-yard check down?
But can we rewind back to the 1980s when Chad Decker and Nolan Dix were on the sideline?
Okay.
And they had 90 yards to go, and they threw a 2-yard pass to Randy Moss. Is that on Dante Culpepper? Is that on Randy Moss? Or is it on the play call of why are you sending Randy Moss on a 2-yard out?
Well, so it wasn't 2 seconds left, and it was about the 30-yard line. And I think they
had 70 yards to go. They had
70 yards to go. They had a long ways to go.
But you're not going to throw a 2-yard pass if you got to get 70 yards down the field.
But it wasn't 4th down, though, either. They were just I mean, Culpepper went through the progression. Randy Moss just happened to be the sideline guy.
Did he go through the progression?
I don't know. I wasn't.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't.
Sam Darnold go through his progression, or did he did he panic and go down to the?
No, Kirk Cousins. They showed him looking at all of his receivers, and then he saw whoever that was on the check down.
And were they all covered up?
No.
Come on now.
You still, even if, dude, you still got to make that throw.
Yeah.
You got to go for it. You're
okay.
I mean,
so Sam Darnold, let's get on Sam Darnold here. You just said that he totally vanished in the wild card game against the Rams.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he was 25 of 40.
Okay.
He had a touchdown to interception. He was sacked 9 times.
Right.
That is not on Sam Darnold.
But he wasn't sacked more than there was.
Might have been.
He wasn't running. He did not. Earlier in the season, he was running and he was getting out of those sacks. He was still trying to stay in the pocket.
So was he injured?
I don't know.
Was he told to stay in the pocket?
No.
But yet Chad Decker does not know that because he was not in the quarterback meeting room with Kevin O'Connell and
easy. Yeah, I'm just saying he's not going to lead the Vikings to a Super Bowl.
Well, were the Vikings going to score 30 points that game against the Rams, against that defense?
I don't know.
Oh, the Vikings gave up 27.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Yep.
Now, if you want to crown
and for all the delusional people out there that thought Matthew Stafford was going to jump over to the Minnesota Vikings, that was kibosh Chad Decker.
I said the Raiders. The Raiders. I said his wife wanted out.
Yeah. You weren't the only one. There's a lot of people out there going, hey, Matthew Stafford's coming to Minnesota.
Oh,
no, he's not
coming
to Minnesota.
Just like Myles Garrett and Max Crosby are coming to the Detroit Lions. Guess what? They ain't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I sent you that one, and I'm just like, yeah, all those Detroit Lion fans that were like, did you see Hutchinson was talking to him? It's like, well, yeah, they talk. They're probably friends.
Yeah. It's so funny. They think everything, man. They're just like, oh, we're the greatest team ever. Yeah, well, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. You're not. You're not. You're not. So, anyways, there's that. There's that. But we're planning on Monday because that's when we can start talking about free agents and where we think people are going to go. And I'm going to tinker with our new little thing we got here and see if I can create something for us to show. I will send you a. There you go. Uh-oh. What you got?
News story.
This just in a few minutes ago.
Okay.
The Rams have signed Tutu Atwell to a 1-year, $10 million contract. So Stafford's weapons are building. Oh, wait. Who is Tutu Atwell? Did he catch a pass last year?
Does he play defense?
So what do you think of, okay, let's talk about a couple things that has happened. Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
Going to Washington. I sent the text to my son, Jacob, and the first thing, do you think the 2 words that he said when I said, hey, did you see Deebo went to Washington?
I would say he's a dumb move.
Close. Washed up.
Yeah. Is he? I don't think he is, though, is he?
Oh. It's hard to say. It depends on how you use him. I don't think he's taken a pretty good beating there in
true.
San Francisco.
True. I would agree with that. Is Devontae Adams washed up? He's going to be 32 this year.
Devontae hasn't played a snap in how many years? I mean, he's made some pretty good money.
Yeah.
Between Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, I think those 2 would work perfectly in Minnesota.
Oh, shut up.
But I'm just,
you just shut up. Oh, wait, wow. How did that happen? I picked the wrong guy.
I'm just saying. Rodgers.
I don't know.
Rodgers, Adams, and Justin Jefferson. That would work good in the U.S. Bank Stadium.
Maybe about 10 years ago. All kidding aside, Rodgers didn't have that bad of a season last year.
You're a promoter of Aaron Rodgers.
I'm just saying he didn't have a bad season.
He didn't, but he's
like you said that. Well, the talent he had around him wasn't very good, and he is a cancer. He doesn't like to practice. He doesn't like to do this. He doesn't like to do that.
But if you put him in Minnesota,
I don't know.
I
don't think you want to tarnish JJ McCarthy with Aaron Rodgers, do you? I mean, God, he's already a Michigan chump.
JJ McCarthy might be traded on draft night. You just don't
that's
know.
Crazy. I mean, again, that could happen, Nolan. It really could. It really could. Who would trade for him though? I mean, so let's say the Vikings don't sign Darnold. They can't work out a deal. Does he go to the Raiders? Everybody says Tom Brady doesn't like him. Well, okay.
Pete Carroll wants him.
Pete Carroll wants him.
They've said he's kind of wishy-washy on him, but
so I've heard the Steelers. I don't think he fits there. I heard the Titans. I think he could take the Titans for a lot of money, and he would be another Kirk Cousins, and just kind of, I don't know. I don't know, Nolan. I think his best landing spot would be staying in Minnesota, and if he starts out crappy, you throw in JJ. That's my thoughts. But he played his way into a free agent contract. I would agree with you on that, but he had his last 3 games weren't the best.
And I will admit, I did say that he played himself out of. He probably cost him $20 million down the stretch.
Those last couple of games, yep.
Yeah.
If he could have won that first playoff game, I think there'd be more momentum of him actually being franchised at $40 million. Honestly, right. I think he would have. I think he really would have but he didn't. We are where we are. So, all right. So, what you think the Bears are going to splash free agency? What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, they might sign 1 or 2. I don't know.
Okay.
I know they're looking at Ginty for running back at number 10.
Oh, you're going to the draft already.
Well, no, I'm just saying they're looking at him, so they're not. They're going to build, I think, the line through free agency.
Yeah.
So maybe you get a college kid second round.
Would you take a running back at 10 though? Do they still? Don't they take running backs a little bit later in the first round? I mean, I've always just the one guy that on ESPN that I like is Mel Kiper, and he seems to understand it, and he usually gets them right. I mean, he's out of the top 10, he's usually 8 out of 10 he gets right, unless the Jets go in there and do something stupid. But other than that,
and they easily could.
Yeah. Who's going to play QB for the Jets next year? They got to re-sign Sam Darnold. Would you resign Sam? Would you resign Sam Darnold? No. What would you do? How about the Giants?
Do you bring Daniel Jones in? Do you bring in Justin Fields? Do you bring in Russell Wilson? There's a lot of guys out there.
I don't know. What do you do? Yeah, that's crazy because they want a winner and they want to win now, but they don't have the talent. They got a pretty good defense, but
even the year that supposedly Chad Decker said Aaron Rodgers had. They didn't win very many ball games. I mean, you get rid of your coach early in the season,
right? So
that's kind of telling you what's going on between the 4 walls in the locker room and the GM's office.
Well, right now the Vikings they're trying to create a story about who's running the Vikings because KOC got a contract extension and the chef did not yet, anyways.
I don't think the chef has proved that he can.
Why do you say that? Who signed Sam Darnold to a 1-year, $10 million deal?
And who's getting rid of Sam Darnold after the season he had?
Because
who got rid of Kirk Cousins after the year that he had? Yeah,
Kevin O'Connell and his age. Kirk Cousins got rid of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota because
of Achilles.
We told Kirk Cousins that we were going to draft a quarterback as well. And he's like, well, then I'm out of here. Yeah. And then he goes to Atlanta.
And then he goes thrown over 5,000 yards. And
then he goes to Atlanta. And what does Atlanta do? Before the Vikings.
Yeah.
Does the exact same thing. So, I don't know. Fragile. You were right when you said fragile. His ego is fragile. He's always Cousins. He's always.
Did I say his ego was fragile?
You did.
I said JJ McCarthy is fragile.
You said he's fragile. You said Aaron Jones is fragile. You want me to
fragile because
you want me to go? Yeah. You want me to
Aaron Jones is fragile because he's on my fantasy football team, so he might be leaving the Dakota Bears this year, and he may become a 2,000-yard rusher for somebody without him on my team. So
let's see. You just said that Aaron Jones is fragile.
Oh, what are you looking up? What are you thinking?
Well, I was just at one point you said Kirk Cousins got his feelings hurt. I just remember that
that had to have been probably 2 years ago.
What? No, it was when they drafted the quarterback. When they drafted Penix Jr., said he was a fragile, ego-driven, Dude's a Super Bowl contract winner, man.
Yeah.
He can't be
He's
complaining
made
about
some money. There's quite a few quarterbacks that have done that.
Yeah, and I think that's what Darnold wants, and if he gets it, good for him. I'm happy for him.
But the thing is, in Minnesota, the problem has not been the quarterbacks, and I think you have to agree with me on that.
The year Zimmer was there, why are you getting rid of me now? Zimmer hated Cousins. Zimmer hated Case Keenum. Zimmerman just didn't like anybody. So I mean, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think O'Connell thought we're not going to get anywhere with Kirk Cousins. I don't know. I don't know what they think, Nolan. I think you need a new blood in there. I think you give it to JJ. I think you let him go. You let him.
How many times you bring in new blood, though? I mean,
well, I think you let him build a rapport with Jefferson, and you build a rapport with Addison and Hawkinson, and I think you draft a running back late in the first round, or you trade back and get 2 number 2 picks instead of your number 1, and you just kind of go with it. They're not getting any younger, right?
Right.
The Bears are young. The Bears are a young team. Packers are a young team. Lions and Vikings are getting a little bit on the older side, even though Darnold's only 27. But here we are talking about he's getting old.
He's never going to win anything for Minnesota. But get to the playoffs and touch your ass.
One good year, does that make a quarterback good? I mean, he hasn't had any other good years.
Obviously, he has it in him with talent around him.
Yeah.
I mean, yourself and myself wouldn't be able to step in and throw for 4,500 yards with that. Why I brought that up, I have no idea. It has no relevance to anything. But I think Sam Darnold.
I hurt my elbow.
That he can play.
Ice. I hurt my elbow.
Yeah.
Hi,
Sam Darnold can play.
Yeah.
With talent around him. Look at the places he's been when he's failed.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has helped him.
Right.
Minnesota has had 3 quarterbacks in the last however many years putting up some big numbers, and the defense has let him down.
Sure. I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
All right, Skip.
I think
you can't argue it. You can't argue that Sam Darnold had a good year.
I said he had a good year.
Right.
He had the games that counted most, he did not have good games. And Sam Darnold is not good from coming behind. He threw an interception. That interception turned into a touchdown. The Vikings were down right away. It was just.
But you played better teams. It's not like that Carolina came to town and they needed that win to get to the playoffs, and they didn't get it. Detroit came to town and smacked them around. That's not on Sam Darnold. The Packers came in, who I feel was a better team than Minnesota. They did beat Green Bay by 2 points.
Twice.
Yeah. You beat Seattle, who was a pretty decent team.
Yep.
So I don't see anywhere in here.
Well, but then again, Darnold had a couple mid-season clunkers too. The game against the Titans, he threw like 4 interceptions. When you're in the playoffs and the team scores, you got to come back and score right away.
Yep.
You have to, just to keep pressure on him and all that stuff. And we just couldn't do that. He didn't look normal against the Rams to me. Did watch the Lions game because I knew it was going to be a blowout. I knew the Lions were going to win. Wasn't that Christmas Day? I had better things.
Well, but they went up against a way better football team, way better defense. I don't care if there's 27
injuries on there.
Injury, yeah. I'm not buying that. They were a good team who choked in the first round as the number 1 seed.
Hugely,
yeah.
Hugely choked.
And I'm still seeing to this day, 27 guys on the. No, stop.
Well, now it's
you were the number one seed as half the team was injured halfway through the season, but you continued to win. You
right.
continued to put up good numbers, stopping good quarterbacks. But then all of a sudden now we're talking, well, geez, we lost in the first round because of injuries.
Yeah.
Okay, so
no, your quarterback sucked that game. He threw 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
And
Well,
your
Goff-
coach, and then you tried some trick plays that didn't work.
Goff is who we thought he was.
Yeah,
I've never
100% agree.
been a Goff fan.
So I got into it on X the other day with a guy. He's like, "You'll never have any love for the Lions," and I said, I think Matt Stafford's a good quarterback. I know you didn't. You didn't like him when he was a Lion, because I remember you'd be like, "Oh, he's no good. The guy's no good," and it just because he was a Lion, right? I mean, it wasn't.
Well, but they never gave him anything. They never,
Yeah, I know.
They never
I
put
know.
anybody around him.
And I'm like, I'm just thinking Jared Goff is in the same boat as Sam Darnold, as Kirk Cousins, as whoever you want to say that it's a quarterback. Fran Tarkenton could not win the big game, but they just weren't the leaders of that team.
Goff has been to the Super Bowl though. Goff
Yeah, but
has won big games.
but he's never won the biggest game.
No.
When the Rams went to the Super Bowl with them, it was the defense that carried it. The only time that you can tell me that, the 85 Bears, but they had a pretty punky QB back then, though. Can't remember his name. What was it? Jimmy Mack? Yeah. Yeah, and then, the Ravens had Trent Dilfer, but that was a whole nother defense there. I mean,
But was Washington really a wild card team? I think on paper and quarterback wise, they were the better team than Detroit, even though they came in as the wild card. Detroit got a bad draw. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when a state champion comes back and all of a sudden you're playing the best team that's playing their best ball right now. Washington came in playing their best ball.
And they had something
they're welcome.
too, that
You're welcome, Washington, as we decided to give up a Hail Mary mid-season to catapult you into the playoffs and put us to the demise of.
So that's the funny thing, because we talked about that next podcast, and we were both like, that's season defining for both teams, and it was.
Yep, I said it too, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little did I mean, in the back of my mind, most of the 2 years, I wasn't huge on Matt Eberflus.
I know you weren't. I know you weren't. You wanted him gone. You wanted him gone that year before.
I wanted a guy. I wanted a guy that when you say his name, you're like, that's a good head coach.
You wanted Jim Harbaugh.
I wanted you. Yeah, and we mentioned Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
I've mentioned Bill Cowher in the past. I love that Bill Cowher.
Is he ever gonna? He'll never come out of retirement.
Well,
now,
he won't now. But
yeah,
quite a few years ago, after we fired Lovie Smith, I thought, let's go after a Bill Cowher.
Yeah, who'd you get after you fired Lovie?
Oh, we went from Mark Trestman.
It was at the trust. I see. Now I thought when they hired Trestman, I was like, oh crap, they're gonna be good, because he's actually.
I said the same damn thing. I'm like, did you see what he did up at the CFL?
I know it.
That boy put up 70 points a game.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, you got to have.
But he was a good like Vikings.
Well,
he was,
okay. So Mark Trestman was a good OC.
Yep.
Matt Nagy's a good OC. There's a lot of good OCs out there.
I agree with you. Yes, you're right. You're right. But when it comes,
game plan.
Yeah. And why does it not?
I have no idea.
That's crazy, don't you think? I mean,
yeah. Kevin O'Connell was a great OC. He's a great coach.
He wasn't really an OC though, because Sean McVay called all the plays.
Well, yeah.
He was as in title,
But a lot of these good OCs go to teams where they don't have things in place. Kevin O'Connell came to a team that was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
So they just figured out as they were on their nice little winning run here that, like, you know what? Let's get an offensive-minded coach.
We needed to do that.
And it was all on Zimmer. Mike Zimmer, basically, people should be sending thank you notes to Mike Zimmer for being just a dipshit his last year as a coach.
I don't think he was a dick. I think he was an
personal
asshole. Yeah, I think he was an asshole.
He was that too. Now we got to put explicit on this thing.
Well, you've been saying shit halfway all through it.
Yeah, that's a fact of life, though.
I called you a bitch too, so that's the first 10 seconds we were in trouble.
Yeah, but that was pretty disguised, though. But.
Yeah, that's pretty. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that sucker.
It was good. I barely caught it. I'm like, did he say my name or did he call me?
Yeah. Hey, gotta have fun with it, brother.
Yeah.
So, all right, my man. Well, let's get back Monday. We'll probably get some good interview or some good information over the weekend on who's going to sign where and all that stuff. And I'm going to work on it, see if we can, with our new little toy we have here on the side, I'll see if I can figure that out. So,
make it work for us, Chad.
Heading to Kansas City. Couldn't go today. The roads are a little rough down in Iowa, so we're heading down tomorrow when the roads are supposed to be rough. Because they got a ton of snow. Yeah. Should be a good time.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. What?
Here we are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons.
You know you are, Roger.
Hoping to find we're two of a kind.